to my kitchen. I'm Emma, but feel free to call me Your Highness. I am the self-proclaimed queen of the kitchen. What does that mean, you ask? Well, it means that this delightful pink room is my domain and I rule it spectacularly. As you can see, pretty much everything in here is pink. Why, you ask? Well, it just makes things a little more fun. So, why are you here in my kitchen? My guess is that it's not just to admire my tiara and apron collections and that you actually want to learn how to cook something. Well, I'm more than just pink and sparkles, so let's get to it. But first, a little bit on my food philosophy. I'm sure you've heard the saying, there are two types of people in the world, those who live to eat and those who eat to live. While I would certainly categorize myself as the former, I do take pride in eating a pretty healthy diet. Now, don't get me wrong, I enjoy a totally decadent binge meal every now and again, but for the most part I try to keep it pretty healthy. Except when it comes to desserts, but we'll get to that. But my big thing about eating healthy is that it does not have to be boring and flavorless. Sure, steamed veggies serve their purpose, but my God, are they dull. I see absolutely no reason that a meal can't be both healthy and full of flavor. I'm going to start y'all off with one of my go-to dishes. Honey mustard ginger glazed salmon with roasted Brussels sprouts and turmeric sweet potato wedges. I have a roommate, but we're almost never home simultaneously, and my job as an actress/math tutor keeps me working bizarre hours. As such, I usually find myself making dinners for one. Sometimes it's hard to find inspiration to make a fabulous meal for one, but let's be honest, that's what Instagram is for. Now, most of what I make here is not super fancy. It's relatively quick and easy while still being healthy and delicious. But I do like to keep it looking nice on the plate, because again, gotta keep it looking good for the Instagram. You want to go ahead and preheat the oven to 450 degrees. I happen to have a gas oven, so mine heats up pretty quickly, but if you don't, you definitely want to make sure to do this before you start prepping. Now, you want to start by lining a cookie sheet with tin foil. This makes cleanup about 1 billion times easier. Once the sheet is lined, you just want to go ahead and spray it down with cooking spray. I like olive oil spray, but it's a nominal amount, so it really doesn't matter what you use. For the sweet potato, you just want to cut it into manageable size wedges, whatever that means to you. Grab my pink knife. So what I usually like to do is cut the sweet potato into 3-inch sections, which for a small one is about in half. Get the ends off. And then cut each half lengthwise. And then cut each of those halves into quarters. Once that's done, you just want to toss it into a bowl. Drizzle it with a little bit of olive oil. Not too much because you don't want them greasy, just enough to get them nice and crispy in the oven. And then just go ahead and give it a toss with your hands. Once they're nice and coated, you just want to toss them on the cookie sheet there. They don't really need too much room, you just want to make sure that they've all got an edge down. And that'll do that. Alright, now for the Brussels sprouts. We want them all to be about the same size, so the bigger ones are going to get cut into quarters, and the smaller ones we'll just cut in half. We'll just toss those in our same little bowl. My philosophy on Brussels sprouts is you really can't overcook them. I like them to be as crispy as possible, so just char the crap out of them. Just like the sweet potato wedges, we are going to go ahead and drizzle these guys with some olive oil as well. Again, not too much, just enough that they get crispy. Give them a good toss with your hand, and you can throw them on the same cookie sheet. I use the same cookie sheet for both. Of course, if you're cooking for a larger number of people, you can use more cookie sheets, whatever you need. Doesn't really matter if they're touching, they're all going in the same oven, coming out at the same time, which should be good. I'm just going to give the Brussels sprouts a nice sprinkle of pink salt, my favorite, and a little bit of freshly cracked pepper. We can get the lid off, so maybe, there we go. And then the sweet potato wedges, get a nice sprinkling of turmeric. which, by the way, is a superfood. Super great for digestion, really tasty, adds a nice flavor. And that's about it for the veggies. So these guys are ready to go into the oven. Pop those in there. Those should be good to go. You just want to check on them in about 20 minutes, make sure everything's browning properly. While that's going, we're going to prep the salmon. I like to use a 6-ounce fillet, but you can use whatever size you want, just depending on how hungry you are. I don't need much more than this. I always try to buy fresh wild-caught salmon when the store has it, but if I have to choose, I prefer fresh farm-raised salmon over previously frozen wild-caught salmon because I just think the texture is better when it hasn't been frozen. So go ahead and grab a ramekin or other small bowl, whatever works for you. And you want to take equal parts Dijon and honey. Now the amount will depend on the size of fish you use, but about a tablespoon of each is plenty for one small fillet. Take your sweet time. Alright, so you just want to use a fork or a whisk or whatever suits your fancy and go ahead and mix that all up. Doesn't look like a lot, but it goes much further than it looks like. So then, just move that out of the way. You want to take a piece of fresh ginger root. Now they make powdered ginger. Fresh ginger root is so much better. It has all this flavor. It's really good. So you just want to take a piece. That's probably even too much, but I love ginger, so go ahead and peel it. If you happen to have a vegetable peeler, go for it. I actually just prefer using a knife. I think it's easier. I've sliced my fingers on the vegetable peeler one too many times, so I'm not its biggest fan. Alright, so once that's nice and peeled, you just want to grate a little bit of it right into your ramekin. Again, you can go as much or as little ginger as you like here, just depending on how gingery and how spicy you like it. Just get that all off there. Alright, so you just want to go ahead and mix that in. Doesn't that look good? Now, we've got another foil-lined cookie sheet. This one I made like kind of a funky little foil packet. You'll see why in a minute. So you want to just go ahead and lay your fish down on here. Grab your glaze. And you want to spread about half the glaze onto the salmon. Just go ahead and spread that out nice on there. And there it is. At this point, the vegetables are probably ready to be flipped, so let's go ahead and check on those. Smells so good. I like to flip everything individually with a fork, but I'm a control freak, so if you don't feel like doing that, feel free to just push everything around with a spatula. Just make sure to try to get everything flipped, pretty much all the way. That way one side doesn't cook more than the other side, you don't end up with burned edges, yada yada. Be careful when you are doing the sweet potato wedges, because if you touch them and the turmeric gets on your fingers, it will turn them yellow. Little lesson I learned the hard way. Alright, those guys are good to go. So at this point, we'll just pop them back in the oven. Crank the oven down to 400, and we'll go ahead and put the salmon in there with it. And then that should be good to go for the next 10-15 minutes. The veggies should be about done by now, so let's go ahead and check on those. Yep, looking good. And so we are going to take the salmon out and switch over to broil. My oven, it's either bake or broil, but while the broiler is on, the oven still stays warm, so we're good to go. So then we just want to pop the salmon into the broiler. And leave that there for a couple of minutes. Just want to check on it after a minute or two because you definitely do not want it to burn. Meanwhile, we'll go ahead and get the veggies out. Grab one of my many pink spatulas and actually go ahead and plate the veggies while the salmon's broiling. broilers to see how the salmon's doing. It's getting nice and brown and crispy. So we just want to give that one more coat of glaze. God, it smells so good. Getting really excited for mealtime. All right. And we'll just pop that in to finish it. It gets another like 30 seconds. Taste test my Brussels sprouts. Really good. All right, I'm done with that. And yeah, it's actually probably time to grab the salmon out. Oh yeah, that is how we want the salmon to look. Little crispy on the edges, nice glaze on the top. I'm gonna put that down. If you like the skin, what you wanna do is you wanna slide your spatula up under the skin, between the skin and the foil, and lift the whole thing off. If, like me, not such a fan of the skin, you can actually get the spatula between the meat and the skin, slide it right under there, pop the whole thing on your plate so you don't even have to worry about the skin while you're eating it. So the skin is stuck on here. Super convenient, not anywhere near your food. Now I just want to rearrange things a little bit, make it look a little nicer. Don't worry, my hands are clean. All the Brussels together, a little piece of char go out. And voila! You have a delicious, healthy, easy dinner. Now go enjoy your healthy meal because next time on Queen of the Kitchen, we are going to totally undo it with a decadent dessert.